Coming up, we have stories about baby names weaponizing peanut butter. What? It had to be crunchy, right? It had to be crunchy to be weaponized. There's no other way. Parentification, adopted versus biological children, talking during a play, husband losing weight unlocks insecurity, and a story from Traumatize Them Back, which may be a first for us. So that will be fun. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one comes from AITAH and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Tricking My Sister-in-Law into Stealing Our Baby Name? So I, 33 female, have been married to my husband, Kevin, 35 male, for 5 years. We have a 3-year-old daughter and I'm currently pregnant with twins, male and female. My brother-in-law, Terrence, 38 male, has been married to his wife, Jess. I don't know why, it's because of New Girl. I have to say Jess, like Jess. Jess, 39 female, for 7 years. Jess and I are total opposites. Jess is an extrovert. She's kind of loud, boisterous, and some would even say abrasive. I'm an introvert. I'm not quiet or shy, but I am reserved. I'm also very observant. The first time I met Jess, I told Kevin that we would be like oil and water. We've never been overtly hostile towards each other, but also have never gone out of our way to bond. Unfortunately, Terrence and Jess had fertility issues for several years before having their son a couple of weeks ago. Prior to this, Jess was very odd towards us when I was pregnant with our daughter. The best way to describe it is hot and cold. One minute, she'd pretended like she didn't care while we were talking about it at family gatherings. The next, she was volunteering to throw the baby shower. I gave a firm no to that. We both assumed the behavior was because of their fertility issues and didn't think too much of it. But the strangest thing she did was almost demand to know what we were naming our daughter before we announced it. She asked us constantly after our gender reveal and got visibly annoyed when we just laughed her off and said it was a secret. We couldn't understand why the hell she cared so much, as she was not expecting it this time. Regardless, we didn't share the name with anyone. I'm going to red flag her right there. You don't demand to know people's baby name. You don't get to do that. When our daughter was born and her name was finally announced, Jess was kind of obsessed with it. I don't know how to explain it. She just kept going on and on about how beautiful and unique it was. To this day, she comments about how different it is. The name we chose is a pretty common Welsh name, which wouldn't be all that different, except for the fact that we are African American, LOL. I've always gravitated towards names from different regions and found and fell in love with the name years ago and never shared it with anyone prior to Kevin. Fast forward to both of us being pregnant at the same time. Jess's odd behavior continued towards me, but this time it was more blatant. Snarky comments under the guise of jokes about how big I was going to get with 2 babies and that my body would never snap back like it did after our daughter. She even accused us of getting pregnant on purpose after she announced her own pregnancy, even though the whole family knew we were actively trying, and at the time of her announcement, I was already a few weeks along and didn't know. One thing about me, introvert or not, I'm no pushover, and I will stand up for myself. But I chose to ignore Jess because I knew that would get to her more than confronting her, since she seems to thrive off of drama. Jess was obviously much further along than we are. However, we did have our gender reveal prior to Jess giving birth. And right on cue, the baby name interrogation started again. Because they decided not to find out the gender of their baby in advance, Jess kept hounding us for both of the names we had already picked out. But again, we declined to answer. After days of this, I got annoyed and asked Kevin if he thought the reason for her insistence was so she could use the name first, since she was due first. He kind of chuckled until he realized I was serious and said he didn't think so, but anything was possible. So I said, let's test it. We were due to host my father-in-law's birthday at our house a couple of weeks later, and I decided to leave something in the unfinished nursery with a girl and boy name on it and see if Jess went snooping. Because Kevin thought it was silly, he said he would give me $20 if she did it. Oh. Guessing OP came out of this $20 richer. So I went onto some site where you could order custom name wall decals and put in the names Aria Rose and Sebastian Ali. These are names that we like but aren't remotely close to what we chose. This will also be our last pregnancy, so even if Jess did use them, we wouldn't care. I didn't complete the order. I got the final page and printed it out and hid it in a dresser drawer in the nursery. The party goes off, but because we were both busy hosting, we never noticed if Jess disappeared for any extended period of time. When I went into the nursery the next morning, nothing was out of place, and the order sheet was still in the exact location. So we just both went, welp. and forgot about it. I did, however, notice that Jess never asked us about the names again. Then Jess gives birth. We went to the hospital to give our congrats. When we go in and see the baby, I asked what his name was, and man, I cannot properly explain the shit-eating grin that came over Jess's face as she says, Sebastian Ali. I mean, she was really proud of herself, and honestly, it's the most vindictive I have ever seen her look in the years that I've known her. But instead of reacting how she was expecting, I put on a performance like I had just graduated from Juilliard. Oh my God, that's such a great name. He's so cute. Look at his little face. Oh, I just love him so much. Welcome to the world, Sebastian. Auntie is going to spoil you rotten. I mean, laying it on thick without an ounce of bother. The range of emotions on Jess's face went from shock to confusion to rage in a span of maybe 17 seconds. Meanwhile, my husband is holding in the laugh of the century. We later say our goodbyes, and he gives me a 20 in the elevator while almost crying laughing. All I could say was, like I thought. This was 2 weeks ago, and we haven't seen them since because we wanted to give them time to settle in with their new baby. I have heard from my mother-in-law that Jess doesn't seem as thrilled about motherhood as she thought she would be considering how long it took them to conceive, but said it might just be the baby blues. Obviously, I think she's just disappointed that her petty move didn't have the desired effect on us. I did share this with my sister, and while she laughed initially, she did say it was kind of an asshole move. So, am I the astronaut? Nope. Hell no. Hell no. And guess what? This bizzo with the shit-eating grin being like, oh, I just took something from her. And then you being like, no, you didn't. It's all good. Yeah. But she still doesn't know. She doesn't know it was a decoy. Please tell her. Please. Should OP tell her that it was a decoy, or should she just go on being happy for her and leaving sister-in-law in a state of utter confusion? Candy Thunder says, don't tell. Leave her in just a state of utter confusion, which is fine. It's a great name. She got a great name. It's not like she didn't get a good name out of the deal. She got a great name. But who lives just to spite other people? What kind of person lives like this? Wait till the kid is 18, Kira. Ooh. Yeah. Tashara, yeah, I love that the hubby made a little wager with it. I thought so that was OP's hubby. I thought it was her brother at first. I thought it was OP's brother whose sister-in-law is married to. And I thought he bet her $20 that she wouldn't snoop and do it. And I was like, oh, this makes it even better, because if Bizzo's husband handed $20 over to OP right in front of her in the hospital, that would have been so much more confusing. And then she would have been like, what the hell's going on? And then forced him to tell her. And then she would just be seething. Tell them on his first birthday. Get a pet, name it Sebastian, and use the decoy decorations for a pet party. Oh, the fact that she was pissed tells me she knows. So Nisi, because she transitioned from like joy to rage, joy to confusion to rage. So the rage point means that she realized what had happened here. Candy Thunder knows what she would say, which means we have to bring Candy Thunder up. Ladies and gentlemen, Candy Thunder.
Oh my God, it's Candy Thunder.
Okay, I said that I would let her stew, but there's like a part of me that would be like, when she tells me the name, be like, oh my gosh, you found the names I left for you in the drawer in my nursery hidden away at a party. I'm so happy. Thank you. I'm so glad you went with the name that I chose for you. That's what I would say. In the nicest, biggest shit-eating grin on my face, throwing it right back at her. Or I would say nothing and be like, that name is beautiful. I'm so glad. How did you find it? The fakest shit would just be flowing out of my mouth.
You know what would have been like one step better on that? If you said that and then from your bag pulled out something that already had that name on it. Like some kind of gift.
Yes.
Or the vinyl decals or something, like pulled it out.
Bring it home.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
All the way.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know how. I just had this feeling you were going to choose that. So here, a custom embroidered blanket.
Yes.
Oh, and I got one made for
fakest.
you too. It says, bitch.
No contact. I mean, why is she doing it though?
I just don't understand living to spite other people.
No.
If that's what fills up your cup, something's wrong. Like you need help, right?
He's not really a petty person. Like you don't get like super petty, but I love that you went there with me on this one. It was great. It was perfect.
Juliet says, do not piss these two off. we're creative, right? Like we're creative, and also I think we're patient, and that's the scary part. You got to watch out for the patient people, right? You got to watch out for them.
I'm kind of patient. Let your sister-in-law play checkers and you play chess. Oh man,
she's playing bitch checkers too.
How this would be amazing. Like just the feeling you would get over knowing, but also like you did that to your kid just to be like what'd you get out of that? Like nothing.
But the shit-eating grin means that like this truly does fill up her cup, like causing other people harm. Like,
that's a shitty person. That's a shitty person.
And again, I'm on this kick now where yes, she's a shitty person. Yeah. She's like, she's the worst. I'm sending her ass to ASCON 1. She's just
use your kid. Like you used your kid to be pet, like just to be shitty. Like that's wrong.
Kid
that's
wasn't
wrong.
even born yet, and she was already weaponizing the kid. Right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I keep going to this. Like, why are people the way that they are, and how would someone end up at a point where causing other people pain fills up their cup? How would people get to a point where that brings them joy? I don't understand.
I don't. My brain does not work that way.
I do not understand.
I don't have that kind of time. Like I don't have the energy to invest in this.
You thinking it's like an idle hands thing, or is it just something's broken thing? Broken's not a good word to use there. Something is a worldview is askew.
Where's Ellen and Dr. Sweets when we need them? Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't. I just like I want to go out of my way to be nice to people. I don't want to go out of my way to be like shitty in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to make people feel icky. This is icky. She's icky.
Because they're not happy in their own life, Becca.
Icky Ricky.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be more than that, though. I mean, there are plenty of people who are unhappy, and yeah, they want other people to. Misery loves company, right? But can you imagine how competitive she'll be as the kids grow?
It's gonna be bad. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think past the name thing. Yeah. Ew, she's gonna Icky Vicky. I love it. Icky Ricky and Icky Vicky. Those are the names of Bizzo and Brozo.
You're not on fire, Icky Bobby.
No, she's gonna use the kid.
I'm on fire.
No, that kid's never gonna be accountable for any of their actions. No.
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one's a peanut butter story. We don't know if it's crunchy or creamy yet. We're going to find out. This is from AITA, and it is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Throwing My Pregnant Sister-in-Law's Groceries Away? Well, you know, when you say it like that, it's not great. Hello, this is a throwaway account and a repost and update of sorts because my post got taken down from the other Am I the Astronaut sub. My brother and his wife Laura, who is 7 months pregnant, are staying with us for a week or so since he's interviewing for jobs in the city my family and I are in. My kids love having their aunt and uncle around and everything's been great. Yesterday, Laura went out and came back with groceries. I thanked her, but told her we don't expect them to do this. The kitchen is stocked and that we're just enjoying having them. She said she wanted to, and that most were cravings she's been having. I started to help her unload the bags and noticed that a lot are snacks with peanuts, cookies, crackers, peanut butter, even some sort of cake fusion. It all made me uneasy because she knows my oldest son, 8 male, is extremely allergic. Okay.
This kind of information would have been helpful in the title, OP.
I don't keep anything of the kind in our home because we've had an incident when he was younger where we almost lost him. I didn't want to be rude, but I told her that I'm not comfortable with having that stuff in the house. She told me that she would be careful, that she wouldn't eat it around him or his siblings, that she'd clean up after herself, that she was having intense cravings and needed them. Look, I've had 4 kids and kind of get where she's coming from, although I never had to have something, but every woman is different. I made sure my son knew not to touch any of it and to leave her alone when she's eating them. That was that. Time out. Because like if it's an extreme allergy and you've almost lost him before, it doesn't have to be around it. Just it being in the air in the room can be enough to send somebody into anaphylactic shock, right? It can be like, you better just be carrying a hip holster with your EpiPen at all times, I guess. That seems like I would have reinforced that boundary a wee bit harder. Today, I woke up early to make breakfast and open the fridge only to be greeted by strawberries dipped in peanut butter left out without a container to chill. The peanut butter jar wasn't sealed properly next to them, and there were sandwiches on a plate because she likes the bread cold and soggy. I was pissed. I've read enough about airborne contamination to know that you can't really determine it but I wasn't risking it. I grabbed a bag and started throwing everything in it. Our groceries, hers, I didn't care. I was going to take the bag, drive to a shelter, and let them know the situation. Laura woke up while I was on my rampage, came down and asked all upset what I was doing. I was snippy with her and didn't try to hide it. We got in an argument with her defensively saying that I can't do this, that the baby needs it, and that it's cruel to put a pregnant woman through unsatisfied cravings. I told her bluntly that I don't give a single if she can't keep to her word, then I won't either. And that she'll live without her craving. My son can't say the same with his allergy. She went back upstairs, packed her bag and came back down, grabbed a bag of food and left in a huff. My brother was at his interview and called me half an hour later to ask me what happened. He was upset with his wife, but also with me because nothing happened. And at the end of the day, my son is fine. I told my husband when he came back from work and he's completely on my side. Am I the astronaut? We have a mini update. Before we dive into that mini update, thoughts so far. I'm at NTA. I'm at 100% NTA. You cannot risk it. The fact that she's willing to risk your child's life so her baby can have a peanut butter banana snack, like, no, honey, no. That maternal instinct hadn't kicked in yet where, she wants to protect children. She's like, I will risk it, not for the biscuit, for the peanut butter. Addie, girl, you literally contaminated the entire fridge. The baby doesn't need peanut butter, but OP's son needs to live, Shadow Kissed. Yeah, Oma. Yeah. Craving, anaphylactic shock. Risking a child's life. There you go, Brittany. If you want it, you can have it outside of my damn house. I forget, too. I mean, I read it, but I forget. Why were they there? Why are they staying there? Husband is interviewing for jobs in the city. Okay. They're staying for a week. She can't go a week. I mean, and literally, she could, go outside, go to the park, go on a walk, whatever. Just don't do it in the house. Don't risk a child's life because you want peanut butter. We've gone extended periods of time whenever our kids had active peanut butter allergies with just nothing in there. Here's the mini update. Like some people had predicted in the comments on the other sub, Laura did go straight to my family and started complaining. She hadn't twisted anything, told them the full honest story, and my mother was livid. She called me panting like she ran a marathon after she berated Laura to make sure my son is okay. So I can only imagine the riot act she read her. Oh, hell yeah. Hold up, Mom. Mama gets the green flag here, ladies and gents. First of all, the fact that Laura didn't twist the story, surprised by this. But the fact that Mama ripped her a new one, yes. Also, this green flag animation just does not like to play smoothly for some reason. And now it's Christmas behind me. All right. Apparently, even my stepdad gave Laura one of his disapproving frowns. He must save those for special occasions. My brother came back in the evening to get his stuff since Laura had only packed hers for some reason. He did apologize for what she did, said that he'll have a chat with her once she's calmed down. She's been inconsolable. He told me that she's been crying since she left my mom's house and that now she feels unwelcomed and unloved in our family, and he blames me for it. The F? My husband butted in and told him that it's enough, that whatever she's feeling doesn't cover half of what we felt, and that she needs to get over herself, that I've been scrubbing the house from top to bottom for hours because of her actions. I did get panicky and went on a deep clean the whole house, especially the kitchen. But anyway, my brother left and said that there's no leveling with us when we're being this stubborn. Excuse me, sir? You know what? I'm gonna be stubborn about my child's life. I'm gonna be stubborn about my child's safety. And if you can't respect that, how is he? I get that partners, because they're the ones that are going to get bitched out by their spouse, they're most likely to take their spouse's side even if they know they're wrong. But he was not with her at this time. He was separate from her and was bitching at them for the way that she feels. But she feels unloved and unwelcome because everybody told her this was dumb. Everybody told her she was wrong. Everybody but her partner is like, you guys just don't get it. There's no leveling with you when you're being this stubborn. Well, there's no communicating with you when you're being this big of a dumbass. Now that I've had time to get out of the state that I was in, I do feel bad that she's distressed and feels unwelcome in our family. That was never my goal. I've been debating sending her an apology, not for my actions because I stand by them, but for the way I went about it. I should not have allowed the stuff in our house in the first place and could have been calmer about it after I opened the fridge. And here is an actual update. We'll go ahead and fly right into it. A lot of people asked me to post an update, so here it is. Warning, this is a long one, and if I wasn't the asshole before, I sure am now. Well, at least she owns it. So after my mom berated Laura and my brother yelled at my husband and I took the advice I was given and sent them a long text, which ended up being a bit of a ramble about everything, how the situation is, how we're disgusted by their stance, and how we'll be going low contact until we feel ready to be around them again. That was the other day after my brother packed his bags and left. I was left on red, and I thought that was that until a few days ago when I got a call from Laura. I thought about not answering, but the curiosity got the better of me. When I picked up, Laura tried to make awkward small talk, but I think she sensed I wasn't in the mood and got right to it. She apologized about her behavior and said she had no excuse other than her hormones, and we ended up having a long chat about everything. By the end of it, I actually felt better and like we could get past it and work on our relationship. She also mentioned that she would still like for my family and I to come to her birthday party. It wasn't going to happen in a restaurant anymore. I guess the hotel stay ended up costing them a lot, as some of you predicted, and that it was going to be at their house instead. I told her that I'll talk to my husband and get back to her. I also got a text from my brother apologizing and saying he was just trying to protect and stand by his wife. It was too soon to start mending things, as my husband pointed out, but he left the choice up to me, and I honestly believed her apology because she has never acted like that before and seemed actually ashamed of herself. Anyway, my sister, who was also apologized to because she also tore her a new one, and parents, who also got an apology, were also invited, but my sister's kids wanted a cousin sleepover instead of going with us. So after talking it over with my sister, we agreed for them to have one at my house. Wait, what? Oh, the sleepover. Not the party, right? My babysitters of a year are my next door neighbors. They're sweet and responsible 16-year-old twins who live with their single mom. They usually team up and tackle my kids on date nights. There's a reason I'm mentioning this. When my sisters added 2 kids to the mix, I asked their mom if she was free to join their duo, and she agreed. Okay, so you've got 2 teens plus an adult there. Cool. So I called Laura and told her that Richard and I are coming. When we got to their house, Laura greeted my husband and I at the door. We handed her the gift and went in, but she seemed puzzled that we didn't have a trail of kids with us, so I remembered to tell her that it's just us adults. Same thing happened when my sister and her husband walked in. Dinner was awkward. No matter how we tried to lighten up the mood and the conversation, it was stilted at best, but I thought it was at least a step forward. Laura asked this time about why the kids were not with us, that she had made special food for them. Oh no. I never mentioned the kids when I got back to her, just my husband and I, but I felt like it was my fault that I didn't clarify, and so I apologized for it and thanked her for thinking of them. She put freaking peanut butter in the kids' food, didn't she? This bizzo. Please don't be that. Please don't be that. My sister chimed in that her kids and mine were having a cousin sleepover tonight and how she was excited about our soon-to-be nephew to join them when he's here and older. Laura looked at her with a smile and said, yeah, I'm sure he'll be best friends with his cousins, as in my kids, and his step-cousins, as in my sisters. This pissed me off because we don't use step anything with the kids, but I bit my tongue. For context, my sister is technically my stepsister. I know I used stepdad in my first post. I usually call him by his first name. I consider him a parental figure since he raised me since I was 10, but I had a dad, and the title will always be his. My sister gave her a hurt look, but it was my brother who nudged his wife with a "what are you doing?" look. A few minutes went by again with eating and light convo before Laura asked again about our kids, mainly who was watching them since all 4 parents are here. I told her that my neighbor and her daughters are babysitting, to which she laughed at and joked about how incompetent the girls and their mom must be to need all 3 of them to wrangle the kids. Also, for context, I have 4 kids. I'm biased and like to think they're well behaved, but they're sometimes too much for one person to handle, even me. And I'm the one that brought them into this world. And my sister's 2 kids, it's a lot for 2 teenage girls to handle, even for just a few hours. We left at 7 and said we'd be back by 11. It has absolutely nothing to do with the girls whom my kids adore or their mom, who is as kind as they come. Before I could retort anything, my mom stepped in with one of her smiles and told Laura that it's so kind of her to offer her own competence and watch the kids next time. That shut her up real fast.
Ooh, I really like this mom.
I like her. I like her sass level. And she's quick. Like she's no bullshit. After that, dinner was even more awkward until we cleared the table and Laura brought out dessert while my brother got the cake from the fridge. Here's where I lost the last of my remaining brain cells. I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, I saw my husband carrying my bag and trying to usher me out of the front door to leave. He looked pissed, and I was beyond confused and obviously resisted because yes, the dinner is a train wreck, but let me at least say goodbye and give the lame excuse for our departure. When my husband tried to literally carry me out, I knew something was wrong, and after a couple of tries, I darted past him to the dining room. Laura's now ready dessert table consisted of peanut butter cake pops, peanut butter pie, peanut butter cookies, peanut butter brownies, and to top it all off, a peanut butter birthday cake that my brother brought in and was sniffing at with a horrified look. Laura then gave me a big smile and said loudly to my family, I thought I should at least get to have my cravings on my birthday. Get your fill in before she throws these out too. OMG. So again, she was expecting the kids to be there and she was willing to risk their lives, not from like an instant gratification craving standpoint, from a premeditated, I am trying to inflict harm on a child, I'm evil standpoint. I honestly thought that for a second my sister was going to tackle her, and I wasn't that far behind her because all I could think about was the fact that she thought my kids were coming and she planned this accordingly. I felt so guilty for allowing the stuff in our house the last time, and if my sister's kids hadn't wanted the sleepover, I was going to walk my son into danger a second time. I lost my shit. Without thinking about my actions, I grabbed Laura's head, forced her to walk towards my brother, who was, I think, too shocked to react, and slammed her head straight into the cake. I held it down as long as I could while she flailed and told her I hope she chokes on her cravings before I let her go. Holy shit. The fact that she's preggers is the only thing that makes that not cool. I honestly wanted to go for the pie too, but I had embarrassed myself enough by acting like that in the first place, so I told my brother that I'm done with both of them and his wife, and if they try to contact me or my family again, I'm filing for a protective order. Then I let my husband lead me out. My sister was cackling as she followed us with her husband, but our parents stayed back. I heard Laura screaming profanities after us, but my stepdad raised his voice, which shut her up. I got a lot of jokes about his frown on my first post, but the man is as stoic as they come. Him showing any emotion is a big deal. I remember that his frown alone growing up was enough to literally stop my sister and I in our tracks because we knew if he gave us one that we messed up. I haven't asked my mom what happened after we left because I can't handle any more heartache from my brother or his actions. I don't think this was the update anyone wanted, least of all me, but I'm completely done with the both of them. Even though my brother looked like he had no idea the stuff was in his house, happening under his damn roof. I'm sorry I won't be in my nephew's life and my kids won't get to know their new cousin they've been waiting for, but I'd rather cry over that than of my son's life. I don't expect anyone to be kind in the comments. I'm 32. I shouldn't have been so naive, and I know I shouldn't have reacted like that, and I'm going to be dealing with that with my therapist along with the guilt I'm feeling, but please take it easy on me. I'm still shaken up. I'm also looking into family therapy for my kids so they can better process not having their uncle and aunt around after them having been a close presence in their lives. Oh, what the heck? This guy, okay. I've used the Krang analogy before and talk about how, like, I'm sure being pregnant and having a baby in there, controlling things messes with all kinds of stuff, and that does not explain this. No way in hell. This nothing explains this. How can you be so evil that you are willing to risk a child's life? Not just willing, you're planning on it. You are intentionally trying to cause harm to children because somebody didn't like that you did it once before? Like, what? Yeah. You're going to be a great mom. You're going to be a great mom. Yeah, using the safety of children as a weapon to restore your ego? What the? This woman needs help. This woman needs serious help. Serious help. This woman needs serious help. If she thinks that this is okay, like I would be afraid, if I'm her partner, I'm afraid to leave our infant child with her. If she thinks that this is okay, if she thinks we live in a world where nothing bad happens to people who intentionally try to harm children, something's wrong, and I don't trust you with my child, our child. You cannot trust this woman. You can't, no one can trust this woman. And I hope because mom was already on your side, OP, and where between like the apology was fake, obviously. The apology was fake just to try to get her over there and to try to do this thing, but this is unacceptable. 100% unacceptable. I'm sure you're as pissed off about this as I am, Candy Thunder.
Yeah, but so question. Someone this calculated, someone who thinks this stuff out. Like, we know that she did this dessert table, this elaborate thing. She's very calculated in what she does. Someone who is this precise wouldn't accidentally leave their shit in the fridge like that. She's calculated. She's manipulative.
When she was staying,
she knows exactly what she's doing at each time to get the most craziest reaction. Like, she knows what she's doing. I think that she did all of this, one, to play the victim, but also to force her husband to choose between. Because she does say she feels like she's not part of the family, like she's not included as the family, like she's removable from the family. So what if she's doing this in order to, because at this point, her husband no longer has a family. No one's going to see him. No one's going to side with him after what his wife did. So at that point, he's forced to choose his wife or his family.
His
and she did
pregnant
it all.
wife.
Yeah, she did it all. I mean, she
Pregnant
was...
wife. That's
the OP specifically asked her to be careful. And obviously, OP regrets even allowing that to come into her home. She knew it was wrong, and she was trying to keep the peace by allowing her to have it. But she specifically did what OP asked her not to do. And someone this calculated, someone this manipulative would not make careless mistakes. So, like, it was 100% purposely done. And I think it was purposely done to drive the wedge between her husband and his family so she doesn't have to deal with it.
so she doesn't have to feel unwelcomed or less than
Yeah.
because she got reprimanded for doing something incredibly selfish and
It's
stupid.
not even this. I think this was just a means to an end. Like, she knew showing up, she knew making this peanut butter extravaganza dessert table. Who the wants that many peanut butter desserts? I mean, peanut butter's good, but it's not like you don't want it in every dessert at the table. Like, that's calculated behavior.
That was malicious.
And I did see comments on this that said, what if her child has an allergy? Will she believe it then? Because they were saying she doesn't believe that there's an allergy. I think that she doesn't care about anything that doesn't directly affect her life. And I think that she's very aware of the way that she treats other people.
I don't know how you can be that kind of person and care for your own child.
I think that her child will have a lot of problems when they grow up because this woman is incapable of caring about other people. And I don't think that changes just because you have a baby. I think she still cares. She's going to put herself first in every situation. How can her baby add to her life? How can her baby make her life better? Not how can she take care of her child? How can she make the baby's life better? How can she raise her child to be a great person? Because none of those things matter to her. This baby is just another piece of her life, another thing that she's adding on to this shit pile of life that she's created. Because I don't know how you live like this. I don't know how you do this to someone, and then I don't know what you expect for them at this point, other than to shove your face in a peanut butter pie.
I read recently that they were talking about the startling increase of the use of like antipsychotics or instead of other forms of therapy. The number of kids between the ages of 2 and 5 who are on antipsychotics doubled between like 2004 and 2007. Insane. But there were also some isolated instances where infants under a year old had been prescribed antipsychotics. And one they caught and prevented because this gal had brought her like 3-month-old baby in asking for help because the baby was so selfish. That's the kind of mom she's gonna be. She's gonna be just like make it stop crying so my life can be easier through whatever means necessary.
I don't know. This to me screams like narcissistic behavior. Like she wants everyone to love her. She wants everything to be about her. And if she doesn't, then she's going to do shit that's manipulative and destructive to relationships. And so that's what it screams to me. Like I feel like she probably duped her husband in order to like pretended to be someone that she wasn't.
And he could have been genuinely surprised when he was bringing those out. He was sniffing the cake and looking puzzled. So she could have been like, I have it on lockdown. Don't worry about it.
He needs to wake the up.
Agreed.
Because he's about to be a dad. He's going to need to take the goggles off and realize what he's dealing with here, because this is someone who only cares about themselves. And I don't know. So either I feel like there's two paths for parents that, one, I don't think that they're attentive and they don't care. Like you said, they just want it to be easy, walk in the park. Or they go like where they only care about their child. Their child can do no wrong. Their child doesn't make mistakes. If this child has an allergy, she'll be the mom that's like, only my child has allergy. Only my child allergy. Like, it only matters if my child has an allergy. Right. I think like those are two paths that she could take as a parent, but neither one of those is going to end up creating a decent human being.
Right.
Because
I see her doing vicarious parenting.
Yeah.
Her training her youngin' to become her.
Yeah.
And using
no
her
accountability.
Child. Using her child basically as like
isn't it? It's like, what did we say last week? It ends with us, and I hope brother-in-law wakes up and realizes what he's gotten himself into and maybe can right the ship. Or, I mean, if this was me and you were my husband and I did this to somebody.
I am your husband.
I'm role playing.
Okay.
You would not be okay. Like, you would not be okay with me acting like this in any way, shape, or form. So I can't understand how, like, you would be so upset to the point that you like. I think that you would leave me.
There's a fork in the road too, though, because in his position, he's like, I feel for him because he's losing his family right now because of the game that she's playing. But also this fork in the road is a, yes, do I trust this woman? I'm scared. He's got to be terrified right now.
Right.
Because, if he stands to oppose her, he risks losing a relationship with his child because she's going to use that child as a weapon and to control him. It's going to be ugly if he ever opposes her. So he's terrified. He's got to be terrified. And if I were him, I would say you need to go have a long conversation with your family about the reality that you're in here and come up with a clandestine plan to right this ship and get you in a solid position where you are guaranteed to be able to have a relationship with your child, not with her. But you can be aware because that split custody thing is going to mean every time that your child is with her, she's going to be weaponizing that child and training that child against you. So it's the rest of his life is it's a Kobayashi Maru, a true one. He is screwed.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's got to be like, how did I get here? How did I get in this position where no matter what I do, the rest of my life is?
And I will say, so Ava and Brady both had peanut allergies to the point that they needed EpiPens. Ava actually outgrew her allergy. Brady did not.
Nope.
And so, we've witnessed him have a reaction and like what OP said had happened. Never life-threatening, but to see your child's like lips start to swell and all of those things happening, instantly after the stuff touches their lips. I understand, why OP is the way that she is. I understand like that fear that's in you. And to just be so blatantly just shitty about it is just...
her kid's going to be born with a peanut allergy. That's like,
well,
we talked about like, what if her kid ends up having her kid is going to have a peanut allergy, and that's going to be
what did she...
The ultimate irony.
Like, and to do the peanut desserts, it was just like a punishment. I don't know. Icky Vicky. That's what she is. I'm sorry if there's any Vickies in chat. We love you. It just rhymes, and so it's good.
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for telling my parents I didn't have a kid? They did, and they need to take care of her, not me. My parents had me, 15 female, when they were 18 and 19. They always made it so obvious they resented being parents so young, and added to that, they never tried to be good parents. I typically spend most of my time at friends' houses. I don't have extended family to rely on. They disowned my parents for having me so young. So friends' houses were a positive in my life that made me feel more comfortable than being at home with my parents. My parents never did typical parent stuff like helping with homework or showing up to support me at school. I don't think they ever attended a parents' conference for me. They ignored a lot of stuff I needed to get signed, and I'd have to get right in their face on the last day to get signatures. My birthday and Christmas have never been a big deal or celebration. They do celebrate their wedding anniversary, but that's a them thing. When they told me 2 years ago that they were expecting a baby, it really surprised me, but then it hurt because sometimes they said stuff that made me feel like I didn't exist, like how they were so excited to have a baby and how they couldn't wait to be parents. What? A friend of my mom's did remind her of me, but then she and dad said I was basically the too early practice run, and this was the real deal. Wow, you all sound special. When my sister was born, they were so attentive to her that I ceased to exist completely. I got sick and my school was trying to call somebody to pick me up early, but they ignored the calls, and when I got home, they had taken the baby out for a family day. When they got home, they hadn't even realized the school called because they turned off their phones to enjoy family time. My gosh. My mom quit her job a month after my sister was born. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and she and dad want at least one more kid. My dad leaves work early on Friday so he can spend more time with the family, mom and sister. My parents tried to have another kid for over a year, and mom isn't pregnant yet, so they're jumping to fertility treatments. They told me I need to watch my sister for a few hours every week while they attend those appointments, and they gave me this detailed list of stuff that she needs and what I'm going to do with her. I told them I won't, and that they had her, so they need to take care of her because she's not my kid. My parents told me it's a few hours a week and it's not a huge deal. Dad told me I need to look at it as paying back all they did for me. I said no and told them they didn't give a crap about me, so why would I want to help them? Am I the astronaut?
You mean parenting?
No, not the astronaut. Yes, all they did for you, which was nothing. They did nothing except for have a room for you to come home to. And maybe not even that. Like they did nothing. And for them to not just have this disparity between how they were with you and how they are with your younger sibling, but then to add insult to energy is what almost came out of my mouth. To add insult to injury here and say, you have to watch this child for a few hours a week. First of all, pro tip, you can ask your child if they would be willing to watch another child. Because if you force them to do it, they're not going to do it well. And you kind of need them to do it and take it seriously, right? So, pro tip, try that. Your kid would have still said no here because you all haven't been parents to her. And you even said that it was the too early practice run, like she was a mistake and a failed project for you. It was like a failed experiment. Cool. Love failing like that. And also completely ignored everything that she had going on for school. So what do you expect? Like, what do you expect your child to do? How do you expect your child to react when you haven't shown them any love all these years? And now all of a sudden, she's just a prisoner with job. She's a prisoner with a job. This is indentured servitude, right? She's just, that's got to be a really, really tough situation for OP to be in. And gosh, she's only 15. Crap. Got a few more years. Got a few more years there. I'm sure you could emancipate if it came down to that. If it gets progressively worse. I mean, right now you've at least got some shelter you can come to and then spend the most of your time at your friends. Continue doing that. Just survive it till you're 18 and then start forging your own path, or you could start earlier if you need to. But no, you are not the astronaut for saying no. No, this is not a mandatory thing. I guess they could force you to do it and pull the whole, if you live under my roof, you're going to do this. But as a parent, if I'm looking at this situation and saying, look, we've got a child that we obviously have not done a good job raising. We have not shown love to this child. We have not parented her at all. There's a huge difference with how we treat our youngest. Is there going to be some kind of resentment between that would lead to her not wanting to take good care of her? There's some risk involved there, right? And they're not even seeing any of that. They're just like, make this easier for us. You're our kid. You live here. You have to do what we say. So really, the whole arrangement of having a kid for them has only benefited them because they get to tell you what to do. And that's it. Cool. Respect is earned. It is not just built in. Even as a parent, respect is earned from your children by leading, by providing, by loving, by parenting. You earn their respect. And when you earn their respect, they're willing to help. If you demand, if you are a boss instead of a leader at home, it's not going to go well. And I've seen this in myself. I've been a boss parent before, and I've been a leader parent, and I've seen the difference, and I've had to train myself out of being a boss a lot. This is so far beyond that, though. It's if you were going to have this approach, and if you were ever thinking of asking your 15-year-old for help here, there would have to be a hardcore sit-down conversation to be like, hey, look, we're going to be the first ones to admit that we have not been great parents to you. First of all, I'm vowing to you right now that is going to change. We are going to do a better job, and I'm so sorry that we haven't been there for you so far. But they're continuing to be shitty parents to her and not care and not sign the freaking permission slip and not be there to support you in any way, shape, or form, and also giving your younger sibling all the love in the world and asking you to pitch in and help. Wow. Parents, y'all get this because this is just delusional. This is just delulu. There's no other way for me to describe it where it makes sense. They have this delusion that they have done a good job with you or a good enough job to be able to ask you this without having any feelings of remorse. I think you should let them read this story. Maybe that's enough pain to get them to see what they've actually done? Maybe, probably not. But I would also add to this, like right now, what is your plan, OP? I assume it's as soon as you are able to get out of there and to go no contact and never see them again. I would tell them that too and be like, look, right now, as soon as I can get out of here, I'm out and I'm not looking back because you guys have just been terrible. Neglect is abuse. Neglect from your parents. I mean, there are worse things from your parents that could happen, but gosh, to just grow up feeling completely unloved. And now OP is going to have issues later on showing love. Like it's going to cause so many other ripple effect issues here and they just don't give a shit. But how they can prove that it's not because they can't love, it's because they couldn't love her. That's what I'm confused about. It's like Candy Thunder has a thought. Here she comes, ladies and gents.
Just really quick.
Hey yo.
I have a question for chat. Do you think that this will last, or do you think that
what will last? Their excitement
for their new baby? Because in my opinion, they're acting like they got a new puppy, and they're super excited and they want to be the best parents ever. But these people have shown who they truly are for the past 15 years, because they're mid-30s now, right? They were 18, 19 when they had their first child. I don't think it'll last. And I think OP is going to she's going to be 30 and have a really, really sad 15-year-old sister. Because I think that these parents are going to end up doing the same exact thing, because I don't think that they actually want to parent or care to parent. Because how could you treat a child like this and then have another one and say the things that you're saying, or that my first one was just a test run and all of these things. So I think that these people showed who they truly are. And when the newness wears off, they're going to have another one, and that newness is going to wear off, and then they're going to be left with 3 kids and a lot of work, and I don't think they're going to give a shit. I don't think that they're going to actually care about any of their children, and I think that they're going to have a lot of hurt teenagers in 15 years. Because it's, I don't know.
Okay,
I feel bad for OP. I feel bad that you don't understand what it's like to be loved and cherished. By family. Like I feel bad for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anybody sets out to be a bad parent, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be a good parent. Everybody wants to do the right thing. They clearly don't know how. They don't know how to be good parents. They don't know how to be parents. So they think they're just going to magically learn and gain all these skills that they have never put to use before, even once.
Right. I think whenever they said, she said that she didn't want to do it, and her dad said, you need to look at this as paying us back for all that we did. When you become a parent, if you don't let go of your selfishness, I mean, we're all selfish, right? We all have selfish things that we do. But as a parent, like when you become a parent, it's like 75, 90% goes out the window. You don't get that anymore. You don't get to be super selfish with your time, with your money, with anything. And they never got rid of that selfishness. And I don't care how young they were when they had this kid. They chose to have the kid. That shit goes out the window. You were, 19, 20 when Caden was born. I was 22 when I had Ava. And it's a reality check really fast, especially when you're that age. And I feel like they never took it seriously. They never did it. They never put in the work to become less selfish. And if they never did it and they're in their 30s, why are they going to do it now? What's going to change now?
So they're playing house now, but it's all going to revert back to what it was.
Yeah, and they're going to have 15 years from now, 2 very unhappy kids that don't feel loved. Because I don't think they understand it, or, I mean, the only thing I can say is that at least the second child is getting the love in the first year of her life, because that's important. It's important for that foundation, but I don't see it happening after toddler stage. Toddler stage is newborn stage. Like that first year is hard, but like the sleep part of it, but toddler stage is so much more work, I think, in my opinion, than the baby stage. And once that, what is it? When the tough gets going, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Yeah, no, but there's like the tough, like they, whatever, I don't know. There's a saying. I'll think of it 10 minutes.
Well, think it up wrong so it can be Candy Thunderized, you know what I mean?
It's like when the tough get going, then I don't know. I'll make something up later. I don't know.
Like combine that
when
and
the tough gets going, they just leave.
Money.
There it is.
When the tough gets going,
they just
and go. and going.
And they're like, hey, pay me back for what I did. But you didn't do anything. Yeah, pay me back.
Hi, I'm Krusty Wonder. Title of this story is Am I the Astronaut for telling my sister-in-law she's not as selfless of a mom as my wife? That doesn't sound like a smart thing to say. 41 male, husband and dad to 2 little girls. 10 female and 5 female. Our daughters are half-sisters. They have the same bio mom, and we adopted them a little over 4 years ago. We love our girls so much. Alyssa is an amazing mommy to them. Since our youngest was a baby when we adopted her, she's pretty well adjusted. Our oldest was 6 when we adopted her, and she had significant trauma. When we first adopted her, she didn't bond with either of us and had emotional issues. It's been a long journey, but she's doing much better now, and it's been beautiful watching her grow into a happier and more secure child. She adores Alyssa, and I think it's in large part because my wife is patient, supports her, and loves her unconditionally. My wife Alyssa and I always wanted kids, but when we started trying in our 30s, she wasn't getting pregnant. We found out that there were a lot of other issues on her end that were making it hard for us to conceive. Alyssa was devastated at the time, but I took it a lot easier since I knew there were other options, i.e. adoption. When we started the adoption process, everyone was supportive except for my brother, Pat, 38 male, and his wife, Taylor, 38 female. Once they both sat me down and told me that it wasn't fair that I wouldn't get bio kids because of Alyssa. They encouraged me to find a surrogate mother rather than go down the adoption route. I think it's a great option for some people, but having bio kids didn't appeal to me at all unless it was with Alyssa. I was just as happy to adopt. And I told Pat and Taylor this numerous times. Alyssa and I currently live about 8 hours driving distance from my family. We drove to my hometown yesterday afternoon to celebrate my dad's birthday. At the time, we thought we'd make a weekend trip of it. Last night, after all the kids were asleep, my wife, Pat, Taylor, and I were sitting by the fire and having some wine. Alyssa was talking about how hard of a time she's having with our youngest daughter starting kindergarten this year. Alyssa was saying how our youngest is her baby and she's growing up so fast. Out of the blue, Taylor asked if Alyssa thought of our older daughter as her baby as well, since she came into our family when she was older and we missed some of her formative years. Alyssa said, of course she did. Taylor then said that Alyssa is a great mom and she feels bad that she never got to experience pregnancy and childbirth. Alyssa said she was sad about that before, but now that she has our girls, she's happy things worked out the way they did because she wouldn't trade either of them for the world. Taylor proceeded to say that the love Alyssa has for our kids is different because she never experienced the bond that comes with carrying a child, giving birth, and knowing that you and your partner created it. Taylor then said the bond you have with your bio kids is hard to explain if you haven't experienced it yourself. She then started talking about how pregnancy is a selfless thing because you're giving your body to another human being and sacrificing so much to bring it into the world. Why is this bizzo like just salt? Why? Alyssa kept her cool, but I was fuming. I said that all families are different, and it's incredibly shallow to imply that Alyssa is less of a mother because we adopted our girls. I also said that in my opinion, Alyssa is the most selfless person I know. I said that Alyssa took in 2 little girls, the oldest of whom has significant trauma and has completely devoted her life to giving them the best childhoods possible. I also said that unlike Taylor and Pat, Alyssa doesn't need to know that her kids share the same DNA as her to love them unconditionally. I then proceeded to tell my sister-in-law that I'm sorry she's not capable of that kind of love because based on her comments, it seems as though she wouldn't be able to mother a child who wasn't her own biologically.
Ooh, hubby. Oh, hubby. Dang.
Taylor started crying, and Alyssa said that all families are different, and we all love our kids. And I said that Taylor was the one who started the comparison game. We all went to bed, and Taylor left the fire very upset. This morning, my mom pulled me to the side and said Taylor told her I basically said she wasn't as good of a mother as Alyssa. Of course she did. Of course, that was her takeaway from the whole thing. I explained the things Taylor said before I made those comments, and my mom agreed that they were completely awful. My mom did say I shouldn't have said that Taylor was less of a mom than Alyssa because both of them love their kids. I said that I was sticking up for my wife and that if Taylor is going to make comments about Alyssa's experience with motherhood, I'm going to throw it back at her. My mom thinks I owe Taylor an apology, but I'm not sorry in the slightest. Alyssa told me that Taylor's comments don't bother her because she knows the bond she has with our kids, and she'd be okay with my apologizing to keep the peace with my brother and sister-in-law. I really don't want to apologize, though, and honestly, am thinking of leaving tonight. Am I the astronaut? Would you apologize? Let's hear from the sweet and spicy
No.
Candy Thunder.
No, you wouldn't apologize?
No. I don't. Why do you need these people in your life? They don't consider your kids your kids. They think that your sister-in-law thinks that the measure of a mom is dependent on the fact if her uterus can carry a f***ing baby or not. Like, what? No, that is not. I'm going to say this again. Women's worth is not measured by the fact that they can carry a baby. That is not what makes us people. That's something that we can do or not do. It doesn't matter. But you don't get to tell someone they're less of a mother because they didn't carry their child. They didn't birth their child. There are so many ways that parents can become parents. Like, what are you going to say to a relationship with two women or a relationship with two men that chose to bring children and love them? Like, we just read a story about parents who had a baby biologically, like their child.
And they were terrible.
And they were terrible parents. And they acted like she was just some kind of practice run. But yet they're a better mother because they, it's their egg and his sperm, and that's what makes it. No.
This is also the kind of small-minded person that could never be in a blended family, right? Because
oh God, no, she would never. She would make it be known that her bio kids are what is the most important.
yeah, and
No.
but not even like not the most. It wouldn't be like a tiered level of importance. It would be like you matter, you don't.
Oh, for sure. Like there's, yeah, Angel. What? Women are not human incubators? I had no idea. Thank you. They, I don't even.
Like
I
there's
don't know.
a way where when they were having the conversation at the fire pit, I at first thought, oh, like they're just having an open conversation about like the emotions that she would have processed and like, do you regret not doing that? Genuinely getting to have like an insightful conversation with somebody you respect and can have an in-depth communication with. To say that, that would be, there's a thoughtful and thought-provoking way that can dive into the emotions that she experiences around that topic. But that's not what they were going for. They were goading her. They were just trying to pour salt in the wound. Of course they wanted to have kids. They tried.
So, right? And
They tried to have kids.
That's the saltiest
They
part of all of
couldn't.
this. But also, like, what happened to them, in my opinion, happened for a reason. I mean, look at how like she's so resolute in that fact that she is their mother. That those are her kids, and she's like, I don't care if you apologize. Apologize to keep the peace because this does not bother me. This does not take away from the fact that I am their mother. I know that in my heart. Like she's very well aware of the fact that those are her children. She is their mom, and that is the end of the story. What this woman is telling her, first of all, like, I cannot wrap my brain around someone who thinks that adoption is not okay. That thinks that the kids that are all out there, like that they are not worthy of being adopted because they're not biologically related to the people that are adopting them, and they would never be their real parents. Like, real parents are not defined by blood. Real parents are defined by how they treat their children.
Absolutely.
And this woman does not understand that, and I just feel sorry for her that she is so narrow-minded. And to what you were saying, it's like having those thought-provoking conversations. When you want to have that conversation with someone, you have that conversation to hear their truth.
Yes.
This woman had this conversation to say her truth, to say what she believes, not in a way to understand anyone else's life other than what she believes to be the truth. And if you don't speak to people if you can't come to them like understanding what they're trying to tell you. Like, don't open your mouth. Just shut the up.
Yeah.
Because if you can't accept somebody else's life as a different way to live, don't have conversations with them. Just go find somebody else that only thinks biological children matter and go have your conversations with them. Because you are not worthy of even being in this woman's presence, in my opinion. Like, and also, how is she treating those kids?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How is she treating those kids if
she doesn't view them as
think-
family?
No. And this is why I think it is so important for women to have something outside of being a mom. Like,
Yes.
have something that defines who you are as a person so that you can raise your kids to have that as well. Outside of being a parent, have something else that defined you. I'm sorry, but whether or not you have a uterus does not define whether or not you're going to be a good parent. Whether or not you have a working uterus does not define whether or not you're going to be a good parent. Like, we see it Everybody in chat, I'm sure you've seen it in your life. You've seen kids being treated like shit by their biological parents. None of that. It does not matter. It matters how you treat your children.
You know, so OP, NTA, like, good on you for standing up for your wife. And I think the spice that you added to this in the delivery as you were slinging that pile of shit back her direction was every bit warranted.
Yes.
You could have gone harder and still been okay. There's an angle here that maybe they won't understand because they're small-minded and they're choosing not to understand.
Right.
But, you know, when they say there's this love and connection that you can't understand unless you've been through it, before, I think I would just mirror that back and say, look, there's a love and connection with our adopted children that you could never understand because you've never been through it. Yeah, you have your world and your reality. And why are you comparing that to ours and trying to position it as better? Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to compare?
Right.
And someone said earlier that if you're truly happy, you don't need to compare. You don't need to knock anybody down.
There you go. Hurt people. And that's what she did. But also...
And maybe she's struggling with feeling like... Maybe at the root of this, she's struggling with feeling like she's just a mom and nothing more. So she's trying to bolster that up, like being a bio mom is better. So maybe that's okay that I'm just a mom because I'm a bio mom, right? So I can shit on this and try to make myself feel better. But she hasn't identified what she's actually feeling here. But I don't know.
I don't think she's capable of communicating her feelings. I didn't birth my dogs, but I love them like they're my children. So I'm just saying.
I don't know that the dogs are aware that you didn't birth them.
No, they're not. They were adopted. I think my dogs are better people than this woman. And that's just my
for sure.
Professional, non-professional opinion.
And Luna has shit on the carpet 3 times in the past month. She's still a better person than this woman.
Yeah, the food change is officially canceled.
And 85-pound golden doodles don't make little shits, just in case you're wondering. Like I'm cleaning up a elephant pen.
Imagine thinking that you can only love someone who's biologically related to you. Like thinking that that's like that's all you, or someone that you're legally married to. Like you can't, like you can have as much love in your heart as you want to have. And you can open it up to people that deserve it. But you, Taylor, do not deserve it.
I think.
You deserve. Did you already do it?
Go ahead. No.
You deserve
this. This for you, Taylor. And you know what? I think this goes for your hubby as well. Because he's right there allowing all this shit to happen.
Yep.
He's right there with her.
Also, you don't deserve the name Taylor. I'm just going to say that.
They both confronted OP's hubby and tried to convince him to have a baby with someone else or to use a surrogate behind OP's back because they felt like he needed a biological child. Yeah, that's messed up. Trying to force their beliefs onto other people. That will make you an asshole.
Right.
Yep. For sure. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you, but this one's different because this one comes from Traumatize Them Back. Title of this one is My Friend is Dying, Karen. I just came across this sub and it seems like the perfect place to rant about an incident that still makes my blood boil to this day. Back in high school, my friend group included this guy who had a terminal illness. He was at the point where his doctors were shocked he was still alive. Aside from being skinny and a bit pale, he looked like any other average teenager. He had his good days and his bad days, but even on his good days, he would tire easily. He didn't talk much about his illness and tried to be normal like everyone else. For example, he would talk about the college he wanted to attend and what career he wanted. We respected that he never brought up his illness. He had a placard, so we would always park in handicapped spots. As you can imagine, we often got dirty looks when a bunch of seemingly healthy teenagers piled out of the car. Our friend ignored the looks, so we never said anything to these judgmental people. One weekend, we all decided to go to the amusement park. After an hour or so, he started getting tired, so we got him one of those loaner wheelchairs. Like the teenagers we were, we took turns doing stuff like pushing him really fast and doing wheelies, but we were careful not to bother anyone else. I remember him laughing his ass off. That is until a Karen shouted at us from like 30 feet away, "You know you're keeping that wheelchair for someone who might actually need it, don't you?" I looked at my friend and his smile instantly disappeared. I was done, effing done. So I marched over to her knowing exactly what I was going to say after biting my tongue so many times. I didn't raise my voice so my friend wouldn't overhear what I said. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm sure you'll be happy to know that my friend has a terminal illness and his doctors say he could die any moment now. So someone else will be able to use that wheelchair very soon. She got all red in the face and said, well, how was I supposed to know that? I replied, you weren't, because it's none of your effing business. So thank you for reminding my friend he's dying when he was having so much fun. I turned around and walked back to my friends. He made it another 2 years after that. Jay, I still miss you, bro. Damn. But also, this is for you, OP. You get my glitchy green flag animation because that's like, we all need this kind of friend. Also, who doesn't add to the problem in the scenario was the attention. The attention detracted from his distraction, right? He was supposed to be a distraction. He was having fun. And I'm sure that's what the majority of his life was at that time. It was a distraction from the fact that at any moment his journey could end. And this bizzo has to pipe up, which, by the way, like, I get looking at, kids who seem like they're just dicking off with a wheelchair and being like, well, that's not right. But to have the stones to pipe up, assume that you know everything about the person who's in that wheelchair, and to be a complete bitch about it, like, that's got to take some stones. And also, how was I supposed to know? You weren't, bitch. You weren't. And you should have realized that you don't know before you opened your cunty mouth. I didn't mean to say it. It just came out. This is shitty. This is just a shitty thing. But good on you, OP. Candy Thunder, you have some thoughts to share on this one?
No, I was just invisible. You can't see everything.
Correct. You cannot see. Like, invisible disabilities do exist. You cannot look at someone and diagnose them with your eyeballs. I mean, some really good doctors probably could. The visible disabilities, but the invisible ones, it's not going to be the case. Judgy, nuts and fudgy. Take her judgy ass over to American Idol or some other bullshit where it can be actually useful. Ain't here. Also, like, this gal's walking around a theme park, just like judging everything she sees. Not having fun, not enjoying the day, not getting succotash or freshly made pork rinds, just judging everyone. It's like, is that what you came here to do? It wasn't the rides. The attraction for you is the sea of people that you can walk around and judge your ass off on. To the point where you have to pipe up and be like, I judge you so hard, I share my judgment with you. I hope she got diarrhea in the middle of a ride.
From a funnel cake.
Hey, yo. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.